Joining us today here in studio is two-time Patriot League Defender of the Year, Griffin Roach. Griffin, it's so good to have you here with us today. So before we get started, do you mind if I call you Griff? I feel like that sounds a little cooler.
Yeah, totally. Pretty used to Griff, so
awesome.
Yeah, it's
awesome.
totally cool.
So Griff it is. So let's jump right in. BU is a melting pot of unique individuals and nationalities, the complete opposite of what's in my refrigerator. I keep it basic.
Yeah.
Coming from a state that's home to such a diverse mix of schools and universities, did you always have your sights set on BU, or was it a last-minute decision like me trying to get to the gym every morning?
Yeah, I mean, totally. I think for me, I always knew that I wanted to play soccer in school. So I think in the beginning, I was more focused on the soccer and then maybe not so much about the location. Also, my dad went to Purdue and played soccer there, so I was always pretty in tune with the Big Ten. And so that was maybe something I wanted to do, but then as time got closer to the decision of making where I wanted to go to school, BU was pretty too much to kind of pass up. And
yeah, of course.
There's the opportunity at BU is amazing, and also being close to home is also nice in some ways. My parents can go to the game, my brother, so kind of makes me still feel like I'm home in a way, which is nice.
Awesome, awesome. So your dad, you mentioned earlier that your dad played soccer at Purdue, so I've got a couple questions about that.
Yeah.
So for the former Boilermaker, we will say, were you better than him? And was trying to outdo him kind of like, you know, when you're playing like a nephew in video games and you're like, man, that's tough. Like, what was that like for you?
Yeah, totally. I mean, like he's always been a great father figure to me, but we've also kind of had like a sibling rivalry almost. You know what I mean? Growing up, he never let me win at all. Which I think, looking back on, definitely helped me in the long run. You know what I mean? As my hamstring started getting a little bit stronger and his started to maybe derail a little bit, I kind of caught up to him in the soccer, but that definitely took a while. And I think now being done with soccer, we've kind of shifted the rivalry to golf. So
Yeah. And who takes the edge in that so far?
Yeah, so I think right now he's definitely got me.
Oh, he does?
Yeah, totally. But
maybe his hamstrings go again.
Yeah, exactly. That might be for another few years. But now I kind of have the opportunity to play a little bit more golf, so I'm definitely gunning for him.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Playing for your high school, you won a plethora of awards and were tied for 4th all-time leading goal scorer with 32 goals and 20 assists. Very strange stats for a center back, I will say. You racked up awards in high school like I collect rings and coffee mugs with tourist traps. Take us back to that time while in high school. What was that experience like for you?
Yeah, definitely. So playing for my high school was great. It's always nice to kind of play for something bigger than you. Loved playing for the high school because you kind of get that hometown proud in a way. And I think that when I was playing in high school, in club, I was playing defense, and then for high school, I was playing forward, which I also think helped me when I got to the college level, just kind of seeing the different aspects of side of things. I think that by playing forward, it also helped me be a better defender, kind of knowing the tendencies of some forwards that maybe I would use in high school. So I think overall, playing high school helped me in some ways to make it to the college level, for sure.
Awesome. So now, Griff, given the level of success you've had at BU, etching your name into the history books, I've got to ask this question. There's a little bit of an East Coast, West Coast debate for the best path to college soccer. So now on the West Coast, some will say play for a top club or an MLS academy is a golden ticket to college ball. Now in the East Coast, the Northeast more specifically, they're more confident that boarding schools and playing for your high school is the way to go. So Griff, playing for your high school in Canton and also playing for GPS Massachusetts, which one would you say set you up the best for the success you've had here at BU?
Yeah, totally. I mean, I think that from kind of the skill aspect of it, of the soccer side of things, I think that playing club or MLS Next and stuff like that is definitely a way to sharpen your skills and make you better for the college level. I think high school helped me for like the physicality standpoint of it. And I think that you can see that with the prep schools and whatnot. By playing for a prep school when you're a younger player, that might help you in the long run, just kind of dealing with the physicality of it. And I didn't go to a prep school, but the physical aspect side of it definitely helped me improve. But
and by prep school, you mean boarding school?
Yes, prep school, boarding school. But for me, in just going to like public school, just the physicality side of that in high school helped me. But I think that definitely a lot more of the recruiting and the skill aspect and the tactical presence, I think was definitely inherited through the like the club and academy kind of setups. So.
Well, I also played for my high school, but all I did was pull my groin, so we won't talk about that much. But I did have a question kind of for the prep school, boarding school. So I know kind of in the process of things, the prep schools sometimes double over as a club team as well. Mm-hmm. How does that kind of work? Because I grew up on the West Coast, and that's just not a thing. But here you would have people playing for your high school, but then simultaneously that counts for clubs and getting you recognized for college. Like, how does that work?
Yeah, so I think at least when I was in high school, and I'm not totally sure if it's the same now, but in the fall I wouldn't play club or academy or anything like that. I was only playing for my high school team.
Yeah.
However, in the spring is when my club would pick up, and in the winter as well, and into the summer. So really the only time I wasn't playing club was in the fall.
Okay.
I know that. Like Shattuck St. Mary's, I'm pretty sure they also have an academy team. So maybe in the Midwest it's a little different, but at least in the Northeast, the fall was pretty much strictly with your high school, and then in the spring, summer, and in the winter as well, it's more the club kind of side of things.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that. Thank you, thank you. So earlier we talked about your dad's legacy. Now I'm curious to where and when lacrosse came into that picture. You were the two-time captain of your varsity lacrosse team, and were also selected as a Hokamook All-Star. Talk about a plot twist. Yeah. Where on earth did that come from, and are you even human?
I mean, I kind of forget the main reason I played lacrosse. I think that growing up I was a pretty big gear guy. I loved putting on like the fake football shoulder pads and like running around the house and
doing like the blind mask and everything.
Stuff like that. And I think that my parents skied a lot, and they didn't want to put me into hockey, and lacrosse kind of fit my family schedule, and kind of a hybrid. There's a lot of things in soccer that kind of translate to lacrosse as well. So I think that's kind of how I got into it, and I loved playing lacrosse. I still miss it, and that was a big decision for me too of which path I wanted to pursue between soccer and lacrosse. But
well, that was kind of the next question I was going to ask you. So kind of what gave lacrosse, or I mean not lacrosse, sorry, what gave soccer the edge, or were you just tired of telling people that lacrosse is like fancy butterfly catching?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think when it came down to it, I think I realized that I could practice soccer every day. And I think that was a big thing playing soccer in college. You know, you're constantly on the field, and I knew that maybe soccer was something I could pursue for a longer time and kind of get less bored of it. I mean, obviously, sometimes waking up for practice is tough, but I think that soccer might have given me a little bit stronger motivation every day, and I think that that's kind of why I chose the soccer path. But
so fast forward, you arrive at BU, you play every single minute and start every game your freshman year, and then boom, the pandemic hits. Coach Neil Roberts, the same coach that recruited you to make history at Canton High School, and you being the first D1 commit in over 35 years, retires. That must have felt like, you know, when you're at a party and the music cuts out. Awkward.
Yeah.
How did you navigate that storm of events, and talk to me a little bit more about what that process was like for you?
Yeah, totally. I think that my freshman year was a pretty great experience. Our record didn't show it. We had a pretty tough season, but I think that coming in as an 18-year-old and playing a lot of minutes at the Division I level was definitely pretty special, and some positives I could take away from that as well. Neil Roberts was a great coach, a great mentor for me. We had a great relationship. I think that, you know, he was there for 40 years, and I think it was kind of his time to kind of move on. And when that decision happened, you know, I was really sad because he left such a great legacy. But I was also looking forward to the new coach coming in, Kevin Nyland, and so when the news broke, some part of me was sad, but I was also very excited for the next, what I thought was going to be 3 years, and it turned out to be 4, just given the pandemic. The pandemic was definitely very tough, but once the dust settled, it was definitely a great experience.
Better.
Yeah.
How did it feel kind of coming in, I guess, freshman year, going back to that time, and being the first kind of recruit in such a long time for your high school soccer program, but also having an immediate impact as soon as you come into a program? What did that feel like? What did that do kind of for the people that were watching you? I think 30 minutes away, that's where Canton is?
Yeah, it's definitely pretty special. people like my family, being able to come to the games and watch me play in a new environment. You know, they used to watch me in my hometown or at like club games around the area, but allowing them to see me in a new environment was definitely pretty special, and being able to be on the field was also a pretty special feeling. I grew up playing at Nickerson when I was little for club practices, so it was definitely pretty cool being able to play on Nickerson with the BU jersey on. So
awesome. Junior year, you start making appearances here and there. You know, the same way I make like promises to myself that I'm gonna start eating healthy.
Yeah.
But then senior year changed everything. What led to your 2-year streak of dominance and endless accolades? Did your experience from previous years put that much of a chip on your shoulder?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's common in a lot of different sports and a lot of different teams. You know, new coach comes in and he has his scheme, the way he wants to play. And I think when Coach Allen first came in, I think the way I played as a player didn't necessarily fit the system.
His mold, yeah.
And I think it just took me like a year to kind of get used to the new system, continue to kind of work hard on maybe some new aspects of my game. And I think that by the time my senior year rolled around, I think that the seasons prior to that kind of shaped who I was, and I was able to tweak a few things in my game, and then I was able to fit his system. We had our team really started to gel, and it kind of all fell into place. If you look over the course of my 5 years, you know, well, really when Nyland came in, it was a pretty steady trajectory. You know, we missed the Patriot League playoffs his first year or first 2 years, and then we made the playoffs, had a winning season, and then it kind of took off from that. And then obviously the last year we had a great run and was able to come out on top with the Patriot League championship.
So senior year, you win just about every possible individual award, but then you decide to come back and then take a 5th year. So what was that process like for you?
Yeah, I think the big thing for me, for my reason to come back, was we fell short of a Patriot League championship my senior year, and that left a big chip on my shoulder. And I knew that there was a lot of pieces here in Boston that, you know, could help me improve as a player, as well as also get that Patriot League championship, and thankfully it worked out. But I think that definitely the main reason to come back was to win the Patriot League championship, knowing that I would see a lot of familiar faces around Boston and the team. So it's definitely great.
Well, in the end, it was a great decision. You won it all. I literally mean you won everything. If we had more time, I would list all 14 awards that went to you. And you made BU history as the first team to do it. So winning the Patriot League, being crowned regular season champs, and winning the conference tournament, was this always a plan, or did it come as a surprise like when I found out I couldn't sing?
I mean, I think that, to be completely honest, I think that we had the group to go out there and win a Patriot League. A lot of older guys who had been around the team for a while, who also had that same chip on their shoulder, and we were kind of able to gel around that. And a lot of the younger guys also stepped up and saw how close that we were to winning it the previous year. So I think it didn't really come out as a surprise. You know, obviously a lot of things can happen throughout the course of a year, but yeah, overall it worked out great. And I think that every single guy in the locker room kind of knew that we could have the season that we did.
Awesome. So especially after your senior year, or your breakout senior year, with all the awards and recognition, how'd you stay focused? I mean, I imagine it's like me trying to be on a diet during Thanksgiving. Impossible. But somehow you managed to do it. How?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think a diet during Thanksgiving is definitely a lot harder to.
It's
yeah,
tough,
I
man.
mean, yeah,
It's
it's
tough.
very tough. But yeah, I mean, I think, you know, the hunger was still there from not winning, you know, the Patriot League before and coming up short. And I think a big thing too is a lot of guys were on the same page, and we were able to keep on pushing each other every day at practice. You know, sometimes you're out there on the field at 7:30 in the morning and it's like below freezing, but it's easy to kind of get through that practice when you know that just in a few months you can be competing for something that you just fell short of.
So kind of as you get older and you take more of a leadership or I guess approach or role in the team, whatever you want to call it, sometimes when you do have so much, I guess, attention on you and all the individual awards that you're getting, how do you manage to stay, I guess, locked in? Because sometimes athletes, when they're getting recognized so heavily, they can lose their head, but you didn't, and you helped lead the team to, I guess, the promised land. So how'd you do that?
Yeah, I mean, I think those awards were definitely very special to me and something that I'll be able to carry with me forever. But I think that the thought of winning a ring and sharing that ring with 26, 27 other guys meant a lot more to me. And so I think that that's kind of what kept me going. And I knew that our team had the ability to do it, and everyone was locked into it. So I think that that's definitely kind of what kept me going and kept me focused.
So it was definitely a bigger picture kind of thing.
Yeah, totally.
Outward more than inward focus.
100%.
Awesome. So out of all the awards, which one was your favorite? And was there any award that you had your eye on that just got away? And Griff, I know you're a humble guy, but don't worry, this will stay just between us. Pretend like the cameras, they're not even there.
Oof. I think it's a tough one. I think that probably winning the second Patriot League Defender of the Year was definitely something I had my eye on. Also, the All-American was also pretty special. But I think winning the second Patriot League is probably a little bit more special, just to have one at once and then do it again. But
was there any you had your eye on that kind of just slipped away, or do you think you won everything?
I mean, definitely the biggest thing is we would have liked to have won the first round of the NCAA tournament. So
yeah, that would have been great.
Had an own goal in that game too, so that'll haunt me a little bit. But overall, it was a great experience and great 5 years.
What was that experience kind of going to the tournament? Because obviously, as it works in the Patriot League, you got to win out. And then what was it like to get to that next stage of seeing that environment, being at Syracuse? What was that like?
Yeah, definitely different energy. Something I wish I had another year to do and get that second, or at least make it to the second round of the playoffs. But I mean, I'm really happy for the guys who are still around. I think that they have the talent to make it to the tournament again and punch through to the second round. But definitely the energy was different. It was pretty cool wearing the NCAA patch on the jersey.
Did you keep onto it?
Oh yeah, totally.
Awesome.
But yeah, it's definitely it was more of an energy thing, I think, was the biggest difference.
Yeah, it looked like a great environment. So after such a successful career and what felt like you being placed on every first team in America, did you ever consider going pro, or was the allure of a 9-to-5 finance job too irresistible? I know going through Questrom's core changes people.
Yeah, it's a good point. I'll always miss the game for sure, and I think that being just 6 foot on a good day might hold me back from playing center back in the next level in pro, and that's something that I weighed. Also, I think that for me, I was kind of ready for the next chapter in life as well. I think that maybe my ceiling in the working force could maybe be a little bit higher than my ceiling on the field. I think there's also a lot of things in life that I'm really looking forward to in the future that kind of led me to hanging up the cleats. But overall, it's a great experience and can't be happier to see what's next in life.
So sometimes athletes face an identity crisis after college sports. Did you experience that too, or was it smooth sailing?
Yeah, I think didn't really hit me for until a few months in. I think that I'm very appreciative of all the game's given me, friendships forever. That the feeling of competing. I think the feeling of competing is definitely something that I'm going to miss the most. Mm-hmm. That still keeps me up at night maybe a little bit, but overall definitely happy how everything shaped out, and I'm very looking forward to what's next in life and
the next chapter.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that keeps me going. And overall, I'm at peace with everything with soccer, and couldn't be happier to see what's next.
I mean, you did go out on top, so still be very proud of yourself. So transitioning to the workforce, you recently landed a job at RSM US LLP Consulting. It's a lot of letters. Yeah. So how did BU help in securing internships and preparing you for this transition, or was it something you kind of did more on your own?
No, totally. I mean, BU's name, especially Questrom, holds a lot of weight in the working world and in the business environment. And I think that going through Questrom definitely allowed me to develop some skills applicable to the working environment. I think that me being able to use those skills that I've learned through Questrom helped me land a job at RSM, of which I'm very happy.
So end of the message, Questrom. That's the way to go.
I mean, I think so.
Depends
about you. Maybe for you, not so much. I mean, this whole setup's pretty sweet. So it's kind of whatever floats your boat.
That's true. Well, congratulations. That's a great position. So looking back at your time at BU, what's your favorite memory and what will you miss the most? Or is it more of a glad that's over vibe? Which one for you?
Whew. I know we've talked about it a lot, but I think it was definitely the just being with the guys, and after winning the Patriot League championship, I think was definitely the highlight of my BU kind of career so far. So yeah, I think definitely that feeling of winning it with like your best friends, you know.
Was it more special that you guys won it at home?
Oh, totally, 100%. I mean, we had a good showing that game too, which was awesome. I think a lot of people were able to have their family in and whatnot, and to kind of just be with the guys right after and not have to take a 6-7 hour bus ride back to Boston definitely helped. So I think that winning at home definitely made it a lot more special.
And how proud were your parents of you, kind of knowing the journey that you've been on? So you had the COVID, you had the change in coaching, and then you also like still having to be a top-notch student. In all the awards that you won, you were always making Patriot League All-Academic Team. So kind of it all culminating in you winning the tournament. What was that like sharing it with your family? I'm sure they were able to be at the game. They're right over there in Canton. What was that like for you?
Yeah, I mean, it was awesome, and it meant the world to me. They've supported me, and they've given me every tool I've needed to make it to college and kind of keep on working my way and improving myself both on and off the field at BU, and to see it finally come true. And I mean, they were there for a lot of the losses, so I think that to kind of see, you know, that full circle, that full win at the end, I think was definitely a lot, and it was a lot better to kind of be with them after the game in Boston than maybe someplace else. So
awesome. So as we wrap up what's been an amazing interview, I got 2 more questions for you. You ready?
Yeah.
So best and worst part about BU, and if you could do it all over again, would you?
Ooh, I think the best part about BU is probably the relationships I've made, and being able to play soccer at BU is definitely the highlight. I think the worst part about BU is probably the campus. I think kind of going back to, you know, being fond of the Big Ten and maybe some other schools that have a full campus. I think that the campus feel for me, I think something I wish BU had, but also being in one of the best cities in the world and being in school for that, I think is definitely pretty sweet. So it's a double-edged sword, but I think that some more green around campus would definitely make BU a little better.
And if you could do it all over again, would you?
Yes, definitely.
That's all the time we got for today. Griff, your story is inspiring. Thanks so much for sharing with us. Be sure to keep up with Griffin and his journey into the finance world at Griffin Roach 5 on Instagram and Twitter. Until next time, I'm your host, Tyler Johnson.